News channel after news channel after news channel. Wonder why they report the same news? This is Wake Up America.
Brought to you by Citizen Stringer.
The media has become absolute lunacy. What makes us different? We just tell the truth. Daily headlines, politics, social issues, focusing on headlines that the mainstream media ignores. Conservative to the core and honest, sometimes to a fault. Unapologetically American. Welcome to Wake Up America with your host, Stephen Oatley.
All right. Well, hello. How you guys doing? What is today? The 24th, Thanksgiving Eve. Today's going to be an interesting show. We've got Villian Report coming on. He's going to talk about what he saw on January 6th as it pertains to Rosanne Boyland. And then following that, we're going to have Cara Castronova, who's going to come in and talk about some of the new videos and stuff that they've had. She's going to be on after. But first, before we get started and all that, I want to tell you about Spartan Armor Systems. Do you know about Spartan Armor Systems? They're pretty rad, actually. They're our sponsor for the show, and I forgot to resize that graphic, so it doesn't work. Anyway, they're also having a sale right now, a Black Friday sale that's good until I think it's the 29th, where you're getting 25% off everything in their store. They've been sponsoring our show now for, 18 months, and we've got them for another 6 or 7 months already as well, or continuous, or in the future, whatever. It's been a long day. But yeah, Spartan Armor Systems, you can visit their website, SpartanArmorSystems.com, to find, this thing is cool. This is their Ghost Concealment shirt. So it's got the body armor and you can conceal it pretty good. I like that a lot. But yeah, check them out, SpartanArmorSystems.com. You don't need a code this time because they have a massive sale, 25% off. Any other time you can use code YEET, and that'll get you 10% off. But right now you should order your body armor. I'll never be able to get a 25% discount from these guys. So yeah, do it now. Oh, press the wrong button. All right, there we go. So I've got Villian on the show. Let me see. Whoops, that's not the right one. Ah,
You've been listening to Wake Up America.
That's what's going to happen today, isn't it? There he is. What's up, Villian? Sorry, press the wrong button. So I think everyone, Yay, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so you messaged me last night. You wanted to come on the show and talk about what you saw on the ground in January 6th as it pertains to this one particular incident with Rosanne Boyland, right?
Yeah, Rosanne Boyland, her family's filing a lawsuit to get Freedom of Information Act information out to them right now because anybody who's been following J6 has noticed that it's all been top secret. All the video footage that the government has and all the information is being kept secret, and they won't release it. So right now we're having another wave of disinformation about what happened to Rosanne Boyland's death. Since the day of, the government's been lying about her death. They've said she died in an overdose. Now there's a popular wave of misinformation saying that she died from police brutality. There's a very unclear video that just came out, and there's a officer's body cam, and it shows another officer night-sticking people, and they're claiming that video shows him night-sticking Rosanne Boyland as she's unconscious and dying on the ground. But I don't think any rational person looks at that video and thinks that that's what it shows. It shows them night-sticking the people around her.
Yeah.
But, I was at J6. I did not know. I did not expect what happened at the Capitol to happen. I have mixed emotions about it because I think our government's becoming tyrannical, and I think the people need to rise up and stand against it, and that's going to take some physical presence to some extent. But people dragging officers into a crowd and trying to kill them, well, if you don't know that happened,
right.
It did, and it came close to happening if enough of the crowd wasn't reasonable and didn't want that to happen and stopped it. You can look at congressional testimonies from people like Oh, I can't think of his name. I'm thinking Brian Sicknick, but that's not the right guy's name. The officer that got dragged into the crowd and almost killed, he testified before Congress, and his testimony was it was ludicrous and nonsense. I'm rambling here, so I'm just going to go into my point of view, and I've been thinking about why I'm so motivated to like speak out on this, and I think there's this temptation to control the narrative. And when people are giving one perspective and it's not your perspective, and there's this temptation of like, no, I'm going to control it. I'm going to control what other people think. But I'm bewildered by the amount of lies that are going out about Rosanne Boyland's death. I witnessed her get trampled to death. I led CPR on her, and there was no hope for her. I ordered a group of, I didn't order them, I directed a group of men to pick her up. Once I realized CPR wasn't going to work in that situation, I directed a group of men to pick her up and take her to the police line. There's recently been a video released, a separate video than the baton video, where they're doing CPR right in front of the police line. This is directly after I had asked those men to take her to the police line, and the police didn't know what to do with her at first. So I'm just going to give my account real quick. So all that rambling, I don't want to control the narrative. I don't. I want you to think whatever you come to think. I believe the common man has the ability, when they choose to evaluate reality and life on their own terms. You're competent to decide what you think about the world. And so I just want to give my perspective of what happened, because there's a lot of people that I think are sensationalizing the story and lying about the story. So I roll up on the January 6th Capitol riot or protest or whatever you want to call it. It was a riot.
Yeah.
The reason why I knew it was going to happen, because Ray Epps, I interviewed him the night before on January 5th at Black Lives Matter Square, and he was promoting it there. I ran into him again around 11 o'clock on Pennsylvania Avenue as I was walking to the President Trump's speech, and he was trying to stir people up to go to the Capitol. So that's why I knew about it. I went to the Capitol just before the second wave. I wasn't there at the first wave where they went into the Capitol from the front of the Capitol.
Right,
so the
when they
back of
breached the
Capitol
windows, right.
It faces the Washington Monument. Yeah. And so I got there as the crowd of tens and thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people were pushing against the police line. The police started throwing flashbangs and started macing the crowd with 4-liter mace cannons, and eventually the police line broke down. You guys, if you see any of this footage, I still have not put out any of my footage out, because at first I tried to put it out like within the couple days after January 6th, and all the social media companies started banning me and deleting my videos. Months and months later, once they started allowing these videos to be put out, I had a moral dilemma, because they're incarcerating people and throwing people into prison just for being on the site, just for being in the building, just for being there. If they were only imprisonating the people that I don't even know if that's the right word, that were attacking police or committing crimes or
Right.
being violent, then I would have no problem putting out my footage. But they're using everybody's private footage to identify people, and they're imprisoning people for just being present in certain circumstances.
Right.
And that I don't want to enable them to do that.
Right. I gotcha.
So I walk up on the back of the Capitol. I climb the media tower, and I film up there for a little bit. They broke all the police lines, and then I climbed down the media tower, and I went up to the steps of the back of the Capitol building, and I went up to the top steps before they cleared everybody off the upper rungs, and then all the energy focused around the archway, or what people are calling the tunnel. And so you'll see the videos where there's that archway, and there's a mob of citizens pushing in, heave-hoing. They get crazy. They like try to break the police line with like ladders and like poles, like handrails. They ripped off the wall of certain places.
Yeah.
And I get up to if you're facing the archway, I get up to the left side of the archway so I can film inside and outside. I gain that vantage point. At that point, a very, very giant man comes up behind me and grabs me by the shoulders and pushes me into the mosh pit, into the fray, and says, "You're going in there. Get in there." And once I'm in that fray, there's nothing I could do. If you've seen any of the videos of this, it was a mob pushing in there, and I got sucked into the tunnel. Once I got in there, I was very aware that there's most likely people are going to die in this. People are going to get trampled to death. People were squished so tight together, it was hard to take a breath. Like there was no room for your lungs to expand.
Right.
Once I got in the alcove, the archway pops out a couple feet once you get in there. And then there's a vestibule for about 10 to 15 feet before the glass doors that go into the Capitol. And there's metal handrails on there. I grabbed the handrail. I got my hand, I was able to grab a hold of it, and I pulled myself into the alcove just on the inside to the left of the archway. And I got myself in the corner there so that I wouldn't be in the middle of a stampede. Shortly after I was in there, and I'll say, and I'll preference this. You guys are going to wonder about my video footage. So I've been open about this on my platform, and I'm still confused to this day. I don't like to think about it because it bothers me so much. I don't know what happened. All of my video footage is intact until I get about 10 feet away from the archway, on the outside of the archway. After that, I have about a 30-second clip of a time lapse of footage, and then all the video footage after that is just gone from my phone. And make what you will of that. I remember seeing my phone clearly recording those short videos. I was recording for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I would stop and start again, so I have smaller files. Everything from when I got close to the archway is gone out of my phone. I don't know how to make sense of that. Make of that what you will.
Right.
But I get pushed into the archway. I manage to get myself to safety. I get myself into a corner to where I've only got people pressing on me from certain sides. And then that's when the crowd started heave-hoing really hard into the tunnel. And it got so tight in there that you literally could not take a full breath. Like there was not enough room for your lungs to expand. There was a person directly in front of me with his face to me, and like you couldn't even pull your hand up. Like your arms were pinned to your side. That's how squished people were in there. The person that was directly in front of me passed out, and there was an officer directly behind him. The officer line was behind him, and he asked me, he said, "Did he go out?" And I managed to squeeze my arm up, and I slapped him in the face, and he came to. At about that time, the citizen crowd started using all the mace they had and started spraying the officers, which was useless because almost all those officers were masked up with full face shields and respirators. So it wasn't doing anything to the officers. Now, this is one thing that you could say that was questionable on the officers' part. All the officers started returning mace fire back to the crowd. Like both sides were macing each other like crazy. And these aren't just your little jogging safety mace can. These aren't even bear mace cans. If you watch the videos, a lot of these things are like 4-liter like fire extinguishers full of mace that shoot a mace stream out that's like an inch in diameter. And so there's all kinds of mace going back and forth from both sides. And that was in a confined space. I think that space is probably about 12 feet wide by 10 to 15 feet deep with the archway entry and then the closed glass doors on the other side. So everybody started asphyxiating. Like you could not breathe in there. Luckily, my anonymity, I always wear a mask, so my mask was filtering out a little bit. I did not have a gas mask on. I started seeing people black out, and people would black out and their head would go over, but because we were so squished tight together, you wouldn't fall to the ground. There was nowhere to fall. I thought I was going to die. my vision started closing in. The curtain started closing in. It was all black until I got pinpoints, and then I was like, there's a very good chance that I'm going to die right now. I'm going to pass out, and I'm going to get trampled to death once these people start freaking out. I closed my eyes. I tried to hold my breath, and I tried to do very slow breathing exercises, and I just tried to stay as calm as I possibly could. And slowly, my vision started coming back, and then that's when the trampling started happening. Many of the citizen crowd wasn't wearing goggles or masks or anything, and so they were blinded and they couldn't breathe. Once people started passing out, people started freaking out. And there was a stampede out from the tunnel through the archway onto the steps out before. And I'm filming this, and I'm seeing multiple people get trampled, and I'm just like, this is death. Like, people are going to die from this. This is a stampede. And the tunnel cleared out a little bit, and there was a pile of people trying to scramble on the steps outside of the tunnel. And then I turned around, and I'm one of the last people in the tunnel, and the cops come up to me. They have their plastic shields. One person puts a plastic shield before me. Another raises his baton towards me. Another holds up a can of looked like bear mace, and they were about to attack me. I put my hands up in the air. I had my camera stand in my hand, and I said, "No, no, no. I'm press. I'm here as press. I'm a non-combatant. I'm not a combatant." They immediately stood down. So all this story about these cops just being crazy and out of their minds and just beating everybody up is not true. I told them I was pressed. I showed them my camera, and I put my hands up. They immediately stood down, and they left me alone. They actually advanced past me. There was about six rows of cops. At one point, I was in the middle of the cops, like 3 or 4 rows in front of me and 3 or 4 rows behind me, and they were perfectly fine with me in their filming. They were not abusing me. They were not attacking me. They were very respectful. Even when the man that I told you about that passed out standing up, the cops were respectful for me too. They were worried about his safety, and they were communicating with me to make sure he was okay. I slapped him awake, and then he walked out of the tunnel. And then a cop came up to me once the tunnel was clear, and I was the last person in there amongst the cops. And he said, "Things are cleared out now. You either need to get out of here now, or you're going to be stuck in here for a while." And he was giving me the opportunity. They weren't antagonizing me or anything like that. Like, I had the opportunity to just stay in the tunnel and film. But I chose to get out of the tunnel, and I walked out there. The minute I walked out there, I got jumped by a couple Patriot people. There's video of this. I can't find it right again, but I've seen it before. I walk into the tunnel, and I start to get jumped by a crowd of Patriot people. They take my hat off, and they start attacking me. They try to grab my camera stand. And I said, "No, no, no, no. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot." And there was enough of the crowd, just like with the cop, there was enough of the crowd that said, "No, you stop attacking him. He's a patriot." And they let go of me, and they let me go. That's when I saw Rosanne Boyland laying unconscious on the steps before the archway. And there's so much activity going on. I checked her out for like a split second, and then I shouted to people. I said, "We need to move her." And we moved her to the left. If you're facing the archway, we moved her to about a dozen or so feet to the left of the archway to a flat step. In front of the archway, there's normal size steps, like a stairway size steps.
Yeah.
To the left and the right of the archway, there's like 2 or 3 foot steps, and then they're 2 or 3 foot wide. So there's flat ground to have there. And we pulled her over there, and we started CPR on her. I pulled my knife out of my pocket, and I cut her jeans on her right thigh, just below her waistline, so that I could reach in and I could feel her femoral pulse. And I was trying to find a femoral pulse. I think I stopped CPR for just a second. I could not feel the femoral pulse. I look at her face. Her face is becoming blue. She's becoming cyanotic. Her lips are blue. She's got blood coming out of her nose because she was trampled. And I look around at the chaotic scene around us, and I realized like CPR is futile right now. There's nothing we're going to do with CPR. The only hope possible, and I didn't feel like there was any hope for her, but the only hope I thought we could possibly have was to get her to the police line, and hopefully they could get her to ALS in an emergency care unit. So I told people to stop CPR, and the men that are around, I said, pick her up and take her to the police. And 6 men or so ish picked her up and carried her to the police line. We now have seen release of footage to where they're in front of the police line, in front of the archway, and there's a guy trying to do CPR. The cops are macing them, and the cops finally pull her into their line. I want to push back on, I saw all of that happen. Never once were the police in the tunnel beating anybody that wasn't combating against them.
Well, here,
never once used violence against people
real quick,
violence against them.
Real quick, because I mean, you saw me play it a second ago. That's just not true. Because the new video clearly shows this police officer right there where the arrow was clearly is beating her. It's clear as day.
I've watched that video over and over, and a lot of people are making that claim, and I don't think that's true.
Her baton is literally striking. Even if she's aiming for this guy, she's literally striking Rosanne right there. I mean, you can't argue it. Maybe that wasn't the cause of death.
I don't see that. I don't think that video shows that. There's no impression.
It does.
Rosanne Boyland was a heavy woman. There's no indentation of her abdomen when the baton clearly is claimed to strike her. I think that the person was batoning the person standing over Rosanne, and I'll say maybe the baton glanced her at the end of the swing, but I don't think that video shows that. I've watched that video over and over, and everybody can make their own choice. I don't see the baton striking Rosanne Boyland.
You didn't just see it right there, as you said. You can see this on your screen too, right?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now, and I don't see what you're saying. I don't see that.
I mean, the officer's clearly striking her. I don't know. I mean,
I know, but we've got to look at that, like that whole the green dress, blue dress kind of thing, and the voice thing that went out, where some people hear one thing and other people hear another thing. I mean, that video over and over, and I do not see that officer striking Rosanne Boyland laying on the ground. I see the officer striking the person standing above Rosanne.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it appears that she is being struck. Who knows whether, I mean, as you said, you couldn't even find a pulse before they even brought her up to that area anyway. But I think what the main goal, right, what the other people were doing by posting these videos and the articles, I understand. That's why we haven't really covered a lot of this, because it does get, it's almost political. But when this video came out, I saw it, and I didn't talk about it because of the publisher. But I saw the video when it came out, and I was like, you can't even dispute, but you are disputing it. But I mean, I would just say, just look at it more, because as someone that has paid attention to these videos, and you also said too, you didn't see any police, being violent towards people. No. Okay. All right. I thought that's what you said.
I have video of the police beating the shit out of people that day.
Yeah.
This is not like a political thing for me. I am against the police state. I am a philosophical anarchist. I would ideally not have a state. I do not back the blue. I am not that. But I have video of the police beating the shit out of people that day. There's one instance,
and that's video that you have not released, correct?
Yes. There's one. I'm gonna find it tonight, and I'll put out a clip. If you guys want to follow me, if you guys don't know me, I'm Villian Report. I started filming the riots in downtown Portland when they broke out after George Floyd, just because it bewildered me what was happening. I went up to CHOP. I filmed some nasty stuff that happened there. You can find me on Facebook, Villian Report. You can find me on Telegram, Villian Report. You can find me on YouTube, Villian Report. You can find me on Twitter. I have an account that's still active after they nuked my first account. I think I'm within the Twitter rules, so I'm not scared anymore. If they take it away, so be it. Brave the Soul, at Brave the Soul on Twitter. I will put the clip of the guy getting beat up, the worst clip I have after this interview. There's about, I don't know, 3 to 6 to maybe 8 officers beating the crap out of one guy in front of the Capitol. And
here's my
I'm
question.
not saying that there was no police brutality.
I know. The first punch that I saw out of everybody was a police officer punching an elderly man, and we covered it live too. So, and I've said that the entire, and you know me, I back the blue harder than most people do. And that's why I was outraged, and I had 10,000 plus people watching with me. And I called it as he was doing it, because working in bars and stuff, I saw him like positioning himself to sucker punch it, and I called it before he even hit him. I said, he's gonna hit him, and then I lost my shit when he punched the old man. But listen, I have a question for you, because you said one of the reasons why you don't want to release the video is because you're worried that it would incriminate people based on the way the federal government has gone after people, and locking up people for stepping on grass and shit like that. They've literally charged people for protesting and damaging grass outdoors. Like they're really reaching pretty hard. But are you weighing the fact that your video could possibly be beneficial to the people that are currently being locked up and held in solitary confinement with misdemeanor charges, because that video that you have may absolve them of whatever the federal government is saying?
No, the people that are being held unconstitutionally, and the people that are being wrongfully held in the January 6th prison didn't do anything. There's no evidence that they did anything. So me showing a video of them not doing anything isn't going to show anything. They're being charged just for being in the Capitol. Or
no, they're being charged with assaults. They're being charged for assaults that didn't occur and things like that.
No, if you go through they've been very open with this. All of the people that have been imprisoned or charged for January 6th, it shows their charges, and the charges that they've done something wrong. There's video evidence in the files. I can't think of the name of the news outlet right now, but you can it's a searchable database of all the people that are arrested. They regularly update it, and you can see the people that actually attacked cops or the people that actually committed crimes. But most of the people are just parading in a is it called a federal building? I'm not sure the legal term off the cuff. But there are a lot of people that are being charged and like, look at I can't think of his name right now. I think his name's Jeff. He's from Vancouver, Washington. He's got a real gruff voice. He's been in a couple of the protests after, and he's got the ourhouse.com thing. He literally was just in the Capitol at the point where he went into the Capitol. The barriers had been removed and knocked down. He actually took a weapon, like a pipe from somebody that was like being malevolent in there, and he stopped them from doing that. And he's being prosecuted like crazy because he's being outspoken, and he's refusing. He's a military veteran. He's had his life destroyed. His job is gone, and there's people like that. He did nothing worth imprisonment. Like why aren't all the leftists that occupied the Capitol with led by AOC a couple of years ago? Why aren't any of those people in the J6 gulag? Like if if walking into the Capitol unauthorized is such a crime, why
Right.
is it being politically motivated?
Oh no,
So, I have no
I
problem
completely agree with you
showing the
there.
crimes of the people that actually did things, like the people that were just like violently releasing their rage and attacking cops that had done nothing to them until then. I have no problem with that. The people that were inciting the crowd to violence, I have no problem showing that. But the thing is that for every one of those, there's several hundred people that were just there and not
Right.
committing crimes. They were just standing up as concerned citizens.
I get that. Do you because here's kind of my final thought on it. With the fact that you've been so public and said that you have footage that you haven't released, you've been saying that for months now. Do you think that the fact that the FBI hasn't come and seized your phone and all that means that you potentially have video that they don't want people to see, and they know that you're not going to release it for all the reasons you just said?
I don't know. The FBI started harassing me a couple months ago. They started calling me and being very vague and telling me that, like, oh, you may have been a witness to a crime, and trying to draw information out of me. And then within a couple of days of that, I was put on the SSSS list for the American Airlines. So now every time I go to the airport, I get delayed. I miss my flight. They pat my genitals. They search every single item in my luggage. But I don't know. I'm just an average guy, and I'm kind of crazy. I'm not the most stable person in the world, and all the things that I've experienced in the last year and a half, 2 years since George Floyd riots broke out, it's overwhelming to me, and I don't know how to make sense. Like, I've definitely been stripped of some naive, like, innocence of just living my life before that, and now I'm like aware of all these sinister things that are happening and the corruption in our government, and like I don't know how to interpret all this stuff. So
Here's
I
my
don't know.
advice, because my
I
next
don't know.
yeah, here's my advice, because my next guest is on. I release a video. I mean, if you have video, you're looking at it from a different perspective, because I also think of it from the perspective of maybe your video caught some of those undercovers. Maybe your video caught some of the people that were pushing. Maybe your video has a different view of Ray Epps trying to instigate things, or other instigators, or just like the DEA agent who said his buddy, the confidential informant with the FBI, was the one coaxing people to go on. He's on record as saying that, the DEA agent that got arrested for being there. There's a lot of things. Your video could potentially solve a lot of things. I thank you for coming on. I knew about the Rosanne Boyland story with you because we actually talked shortly, I think before you were even out of DC, about that. So I appreciate you coming on and putting that side out. And yeah, man, stay safe out there, villain. All right.
Peace.
All right. So next up, we're going to have Cara Castronova. She is, I mean, what doesn't she do? Let me just introduce her. She can introduce herself. Hold on. I got to make one switch over on the previous thing right here. It should be this one, maybe? Which one is it? Oh, it says your name. That's why I need a producer. But anyway, here is Cara Castronova. You are live. How you doing?
Hey, how are you, Steve? So nice to finally meet you.
I'm good. Yeah.
I hear so many things about you through Randy.
I know. Yeah, Randy and I talk a lot. So, yeah. So you were actually listening for a while with Villain and listening to what he was saying. So, you have, I mean, he has a different perspective because he was there, and he says in that very clear video that he doesn't see the police officer striking Rosanne. So why don't before we go into the video, because I think your team was the ones who kind of found that and put that out there when it was played on MSNBC. It was a new video that no one really had seen. Before we do that, why don't you just like give an introduction to yourself, what you do, and all that good stuff, in case people don't know who you are?
Sure. So I'm Cara Castronuova. I'm an investigative journalist right now, writing for Gateway Pundit and American Gulag. I'm also on a Newsmax show on Saturday nights called Wise Guys, and that's at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, so check it out. I'm a former boxer, so I know how to fight. And, I'm a co-founder of Citizens Against Political Persecution, which is an organization we started to really help the people that are being politically persecuted from January 6th, or anybody that's being politically persecuted for that matter.
Right. Cool.
And, yeah, go ahead.
No, so I mean, I just like you saw the last interview, I pretty much just let you say what you want, because I have mixed feelings. Like, I don't feel the same way as Villian does. I believe that there were police officers that were not conducting themselves properly, but we are an extremely pro law enforcement company in general. That's just who we are, because that's what we believe. But I know what I saw that day, and I know I saw officers acting wrong. I mean, committing crimes. There's no other way to say it. But I'm also someone, and you know this from speaking to Randy, I'm someone that believes that anybody who crossed that threshold and stopped protesting and began committing crimes, there should be something done about it. But I'm also a huge fan of due process, this little thing that none of the people that are being detained are being afforded.
Right. No, definitely not. And I feel the same way. I feel like they are, being held without bail, number one, for trespassing, and even for the guys that were violent. I mean, people in America, it's not equal protection under the law when you have people that have been more violent than that getting out on bail and they're still being detained. So that's why we call it political persecution. But the Rosanne Boyland story is something that I've been working on for a while now, and really finally just made contact with her family. And I'm happy that they're coming out and finally speaking up, because they were really afraid, I would say, because they were being harassed so badly, and people were saying that they were a family of terrorists, and they're really people that aren't political. Rosanne was the one who's really political in the family. So the fact that they're coming out and speaking out finally, I think for people to send them prayers on their Give, Send, Go would mean a lot to them. They're crowdsourcing for an attorney, and what they need the attorney for isn't asking much. They want an investigation open into their daughter's death, and they want the body cam footage of Lila Morris, the officer that we see in this video, released so that a real investigation could be done. The guest that you had before is probably the only person I've ever shown this video to that could say that she wasn't being hit by police. I think it's really obvious, but all the more reason why then an investigation should be had, and that body camera footage, all those other hours of footage should be released. I happen to know, because I talked to a lot of the attorneys that are representing some of the guys in there, the ones that actually have good attorneys have now been able to obtain discovery video, which they hadn't had before. And there's a lot of footage to substantiate that Rosanne Boyland was beaten by Lila Morris. Better footage than this. It's just under court order and we can't see it. And even if they played in court for one of these guys' trials, it's going to still be court order where we can't see it. But it definitely exists, and I've heard this from very credible attorneys and from the guys who are actually in there, that this video exists, as well as other video. And there's a motion that was written by an attorney named Joe McBride that really details, because the footage is court ordered, he can't show it, or he loses his job and loses his law license. And he details, and I'll have Randy send you a copy of this motion, but it details just how violent the police were being in that particular area, right around Rosanne Boyland. There was another woman who got punched in the face consecutively, as the guy described it, like it was Mike Tyson punching someone, hit in the head over 30 times with the stick. And this is a lawyer who's really, has his whole reputation on the line. He's a regular on Fox and on Tucker, saying that this is the video that he's seeing, that such brutality in the area of the West Capitol steps, that any guy, and like you say, most of us that supported Trump are for the most part back the blue, and we believe in law enforcement. And before I understood this Rosanne Boyland story, I said to myself, I don't understand why these patriot guys are being so angry towards police. It just it didn't really compute. It didn't make sense why they were being, what seemingly being violent, until the story for me started to emerge that there was a lot of violence by police that day in that area. And I'm not saying all police, but those police were being violent towards women, towards Trump supporters, and there's video that documents it that we're not seeing. And the video that you see right there is very clear to me that she was being brutalized by a policewoman while she was laying there not responsive. And
these police officers, just so we're clear, these are not Capitol Police. These are D.C. Metro police officers.
Yes.
Yeah, and the police officer that I saw that sucker punched the old man, he was also a Metropolitan Police officer, not a Capitol Police officer.
Right. So I mean, and they all wear body cameras. That's the law, and by law they're supposed to release that, especially if someone is a victim of police brutality. But they're using the same thing that they've been using. Merrick Garland saying that it's part of an ongoing investigation. But as far as we know, there's no ongoing investigation into the death of Rosanne Boyland or this policewoman, and that's all the family asking. She didn't die of a drug overdose. They got her toxicology report. They just didn't get the full autopsy report. And the toxicology report clearly shows she didn't have any drugs in her system minus her prescription medications that she took every day. So there was no drugs in her body. And now they're saying, I mean, what are they trying to hide if they're not giving her family?
Wait, so they didn't give the autopsy report to the family?
They gave the summary, but not the detailed autopsy report, meaning the pictures, the video, because if you want to order a second autopsy report, you can, if they want to get their own opinion, I guess, kind of like with George Floyd. So the family is now looking for the pictures, the photos, the medical examiner's detailed notes, and they're being denied. They're saying you got to get it through court, go to court. When they should just get that. They should.
Wouldn't that be? Well, see, that would be a question for a lawyer. I don't know why they're not releasing that. That doesn't make any sense. That's
they're
kind
not
of
giving them an answer. They're just basically saying you have to
just saying no.
Right, but at the very beginning in January, when they gave them the cause of death, which they said was a drug overdose,
right?
They didn't give them. And then they had to get on them and bother them. And it wasn't until April that they gave them the actual toxicology report, which showed what was in her blood. And it was basically caffeine, a little bit of Adderall, and an antidepressant, and that was it.
And her cause of death was listed as what? It was an overdose on what?
Originally, they tried to say it was fentanyl until they got the toxicology report. Then they changed it to an amphetamine because she took Adderall as a prescription. But it was definitely not enough to overdose on. And it's just very fishy. Like, she's on the ground being beaten, and somehow she died from her Adderall prescription that she was taking for years. It just doesn't really make sense.
And with the summary toxicology report, does that have the quantity of Adderall that was discovered in her body?
According to a couple people that I ran it by, it wouldn't be enough for somebody to overdose. It's really extremely odd for someone to overdose on Adderall anyway.
Yeah.
It's like something someone overdoses on unless it's mixed with some other drugs. And go ahead.
My personal belief in the beginning, because again, I talked to Villian soon after this whole thing. He actually called me when he was still in DC, I believe, or I called him, I don't remember. But I talked to him, early on after this, and he told me that he just witnessed someone getting trampled, and he believes she died. And then but he didn't know her name, so I think that's why he called me, because he wanted me to find out her name, because he was pretty shook up about it. He did the CPR and all that, and then the next day or soon after, it was reported within 2 or 3 days when they started reporting the cause of death for the people that died there that day. And when she was, I think immediately within 2 or 3 days, they said it was an overdose. And I called him, and he's like, it was not an overdose. He was there. And so it's almost like we're arguing semantics. We just know that a police officer was hitting her. It's pretty clear in the video, and I've been showing it while we've been speaking, and I showed it a little bit with Villian, and he said he couldn't see it. But I mean, that female police officer, and I believe there's another video. I could have swore I've seen another video that shows her hitting. I have.
You might not have that one, but do you have the other video? And I know that it has obscenities in it. You don't want to play them on the air. But,
I can do that. I just can't play the part. I just got to fast forward until they get her behind the police line, because we are on social media. So let me get it. So
what's important about that video before you play it is that it's all pure reaction. These guys are all reacting to something they saw, and they're cursing. But it's like, you can't act this stuff. They all just witnessed in their mind. The majority of these guys. A woman gets
I'll play it. Hold on. Sorry, I played. I'll play the audio for it. So. All right, but hold on 1 second. So I wanted to, I don't know why it restarted already, which I'm not quite sure why. Because I wanted to get it because there's a lot of things that were pretty interesting in that video. So here, let me just see if I can fast forward it over.
Most interesting thing is the pure reaction, how they're saying you're traitors, turning your badges, you killed her. You're traitors, you turning your badges, you killed her. I mean, this is.
Well, I actually, here, watch from here. Let me turn on the audio. Now, and just to stop just real quick, this guy, when I watched this video before, do you know who he is, or is he one of the people that have been charged so far, or no?
I don't know if he's particularly one of the people that have been charged. I can't say.
Okay, and maybe with this video, he probably will be, because of the way, what happened after. But this guy, this is the thing I picked up. If you listen to the officer whose body cam this has. He thanks this guy. The officer thanks, I swear he does. If you listen to it, the officer who's wearing the body cam appears to thank this guy who is doing CPR. See, listen.
Shame on you.
That's a shame on you. See, he does. He does. He says that the police officer with the body cam right there thanks this man who's got the sheriff thing on, thanks him, and then immediately the other officer maces him and the other person here. And I'll play it again because I heard that. It was one of the first things I heard. Watch.
Thank you. Fuck you, ass.
See, the officer even reaches out to him and says thank you, and the officer continues to talk. I'll play it just again, and then sorry, Cara, but I've already watched this. I want the viewers to see it just in case they haven't. So and hear it.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Hey, thank you, man.
See, and I'm fairly certain that is the officer that said, thank you, I appreciate you. That is the police officer saying that because he's got the respirator on. This guy doesn't have it. Like, let me play it.
He's in jail. I think that's Ronald McAbee. I'm pretty sure.
Then maybe, hopefully, his lawyers have this video. Because if he's...
They lied
What's
about
that?
They said that he had dragged a cop down and actually he was trying to help. So that was one of the charges that got misconstrued.
Well, if his lawyer doesn't have this video, then send him. This is the police literally thanking him. And let's listen again.
Fuck you. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
So, and you can clearly tell they're different people. The officer was thanking him very clearly. The officer was thanking him for doing the CPR and helping Rosanne. And then the other officers just continuously sprayed him. And it's weird because you hear this officer, the one whose body cam that we were watching, and yet he doesn't say anything to, he doesn't say anything to the other officers to be like, hey, stop spraying him,
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. That's why, I wish they would release all the hours of footage that they have, and I wish that this man that you spoke to before would release, number one, show his face, but that's just me, because I have to see someone's face to see if, where their intentions are, and secondly, also, if he has all this footage, release it, because I'm pretty certain, I've done a lot of research what happened on those West Capitol steps, and any footage that comes out now is really going to only help these guys to help them with their cases, because a lot of them were trying to help people that were being trampled. They were trying to pull people out. They were trying to clear people off, including the cops, right? That's why a lot of them were swinging objects. And, I'm not going to sit here and stand up for somebody that was violent towards police unless it was justified. And I think it was reasonable force used. Like, for example, the guy that was swinging the hockey stick, his lawyer argued it was reasonable force. He swung a hockey stick. It wasn't like he was going for a death shot. He was just trying to clear off cops that were on top so that they could get to the guys at the bottom. So I don't think it was unreasonable force. No one pulled a gun out. Nobody was trying to kill anybody. So that's just my opinion. But when it comes to there's just so much footage out there that if people have it, I'm asking that they do release it. And according from what I understand about your guest before, he said that he had a bunch of footage, but he lost it. I remember seeing a video.
No, he says he lost this moment. The Rosanne.
Right. That the FBI somehow got it off his phone by satellite. So
he's like he said, he said he may be a little bit crazy, but and this is kind of my thing, and I'm sure he's still watching. Like you even said he said on this show that he was press. He said he stopped the police from attacking him by saying he's press. The job of the press isn't to selectively release news; it's to report the truth. That's kind of the premise of what we do here. And if you consider yourself press, you would release those videos, and don't release them to the FBI. Publish them. And because, like I said, it could solve this. It could solve other issues depending on where he was. I'm wondering if it's more of an incrimination thing. If he's recording and it went inside, I don't like to say that it's just so it doesn't get other people in trouble. It literally could stop some of the political persecution that's going on for some of these people. I mean, there are literally people that are being held in solitary for non-violent misdemeanors or minor felonies that are being held no bail in solitary confinement. It doesn't make sense because I'm a due process guy. Like I had a conversation with my wife before I did the show because she was like, well, how is it going to be if you're going on with these people that were there? And she knows how I feel about what happened that day. I think it was a horrible, horrible thing for everybody, and that's why I don't do a lot of coverage and interviews and on the whole J6 thing. But I saw this, I talked to Randy and I saw this video and I was like, I have to, because this is huge. This is wrong. You know what I mean? I have to. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, what you're saying is all correct. This is huge. And it's like, if they weren't hiding anything, then they would just simply give the family the autopsy report. They would give the family the body camera footage of this police woman. And that would be the end of it. No, there would be, you know what I mean? So the fact that they're not is only incriminating the government. I think, it's the family. It's her parents. Imagine if you have a child and you see video like this and they're not going to give you the autopsy report and they're not going to give you the video. It's like, it's really evil. And I feel terrible for them. And the thing is, they have to search the internet themselves and imagine having to watch these type of videos and it's your child. Why the DOJ won't release the video footage to them, it's kind of really unfair to them.
So how was this? Sorry, go ahead. Did you track this video? Like, when this video was released to the news before it was released to the public?
Yes. So Gary McBride, actually, he's a guy who does a lot of research on this stuff. He initially alerted me to this video. It was on MSNBC, and I could send you the video. It's literally laughable. It's Mika and Morning Joe, and they're commentating that video saying these horrible Trump supporters are beating cops with weapons. And as they're saying it, Roseanne's being beaten by a cop with a weapon. And they didn't even see it. It was a DOJ leak. They've missed it. They completely missed it. And CNN and MSNBC are airing it, and they're literally airing it and commentating it, saying, "Look at these people beating cops." And then, as they're saying it, there's a cop beating a Trump supporter. And then they're saying Trump is so sick to try to spin this narrative. It's Orwellian. And then you're like, "Oh my God, you're Orwellian." It's almost like you feel like you're watching a skit, but it's not funny. So
that's where we live now, just with everything. If you think about all these trials and what happened in Wisconsin this past weekend and just the lack of coverage there. I mean, the media doesn't care about reporting the truth. It's all about agenda and politics. And now it seems that people are just, taking plea. I mean, the crazy guy with the horns, whatever his name is, he got 40 months in federal prison. It's outrageous. And he was held without bail that whole time. For what? Walking into the Capitol? Like, and should he have faced charges? Sure, he broke the law. But, I mean, he was in solitary confinement. These guys, there are reports of them getting beaten. Now, you talked to some of these January 6th defendants as well, right?
Yeah, and what's crazy about, I haven't spoken to Jacob Chansley, but I've spoken to his mom, and I plan on to him this week, but I listened to his sentencing, and I know a lot about his case, and a lot of the prosecutors were saying because he was the face of it, he has to see jail time. It's not his fault that the media exploited his photo and decided to make fun of him and put him all over the paper, but they're saying because he was the face of it, he has to see jail time. And the judge went so far to say, you made yourself the face of this. He didn't make himself the face of the fake insurrection. He goes, so, you understand you did something very serious because you made yourself the face of this and you did something very serious. You have to listen to this, and hear it. I wish you were on the call to hear this sentencing. And then he said, another thing I thought that was very interesting that the judge said before he sentenced him was, it's very smart of you to take this plea deal because a lot of the guys aren't taking plea deals. They're going to trial. So you're very smart. And I'm like, I don't think that's the process. I don't think that's constitutional for a judge to be telling people not to have a fair trial.
Well, a lot of these judges are also inserting political opinion as well. They're declaring whatever they want about the election. Some of them have just made slanderous accusations toward President Trump, and they've done it from the bench, and it doesn't seem. And then the whole thing that doesn't really make sense is you have all that stuff happening. You have all these people that are being forced to either plead out on misdemeanor charges after being locked up for a long time, or take these pleas just to get done, and the media jumps on it, and yet you have John Sullivan, an Antifa terrorist that is facing 7 charges, sold murder footage, and he was released without bail, and he's been free to do whatever he wants and go on social media and do all, and there's no accountability, and the media doesn't care. They're not talking about it. Fox News once in a while will bring it up, but I'm not a big fan of Fox News either. So nobody really holds it to account, and maybe the John Sullivan thing with me is I started talking about him in September of 2020 because I knew he was dangerous. I saw what he was doing, and we wrote a series of articles before all this happened, and then it did, and I was like, told you, people should have paid attention, but.
Right. Yeah, no, it's completely backwards right now and unfair, and I had a point I was going to make, but we started talking about something else.
Sorry.
But I am going to interview Jacob Chansley this weekend. One of the things, too, is his lawyer is a terrible lawyer. Everybody knows that. This lawyer, in my opinion, is probably a cooperative person. I don't know if that's the right word, but he sought out Jacob Chansley and his other clients from January 6th. I've been working with these attorneys since day one. I don't know a single attorney. We had to beg a lot of these attorneys to take cases at the beginning. Right. I don't know an attorney that actually looked for clients and asks them to represent them, and then tells them to take plea deals on stuff that makes absolutely no sense and misadvises them. So
is that the old man who dropped all the F-bombs and stuff that day?
He was
outside of the press conference.
Reporters belong on the short bus, and that's why they were there, and they should all be able to plead insanity because they're all slow. And this is sort of
yeah,
he's crazy, and he should never be able to practice law again. And, Jacob has a new lawyer, so hopefully, I don't know how easy it's going to be to negotiate a plea deal after you already made the plea deal. But his case is that his lawyer completely misadvised him and was a compromised person. So,
well, and I don't disagree that his lawyer was, because I think after the plea deal was read in court, that lawyer went outside and said Trump's got to do that. Like he just made really crazy accusations that even the left media covered it, because they're like, even his lawyer's batshit crazy, and we're like talking about the derangement, but the lawyer was actually saying derogatory things about it. So maybe, just maybe, if they actually do a new filing and his attorney is good. So and hopefully we figure it out. But how can people follow what you're doing at Citizens Against Political Persecution and your shows and all that stuff?
Well, you could, like I said, watch on Saturday nights Wise Guys on Newsmax, and I think we're on at 1:30 on Sundays. And I'm writing for Gateway Pundit for American Gulag. That's where a lot of people could also keep up, AmericanGulag.org, about what's going on with a lot of the political prisoners. And of course, go to Citizens Against Political Persecution website, which is citizensapp.us, citizensapp.us, and there's so much information there about everything that's going on. You can follow me on Twitter. I was banned on Facebook. I'm suing Facebook. I'll, hopefully be successful with that and help a lot of people.
You were banned on Facebook?
I woke up one day and my whole account of 15 years with all my family photos, pictures of my grandparents that are no longer with us, gone, for violating, community standards. And I tried to appeal it, and they said it's irreversible. So I sent them a letter. Haven't heard anything back, but I am going to get an attorney because I'm very careful with what I say, and I research everything I say, and I'm very respectful. I always reach out to the other side. So why I would be banned on Facebook is beyond me. But right now I'm on Twitter, so you can follow me at Cara Castronova on Twitter. And on my website, I'll keep plugging Cara Castronova.
No, go for it.
Yeah.
And you guys started the commission one, the People's Commission. Talk about that real quick.
January 6th commission, which is so important, and we just need people to help out, and serious people and people that are smart, or that have video and that have information. So it's a group of American citizen journalists that have footage that were there that day, that know people that were there that day. So, that's how we kind of started digging up this whole Rosanne story. We're looking into the other deaths that happened that day, a lot of the misconduct on police that day, and a lot of other things. I think that we're very suspicious, which if anything breaks that I find, I'll let you know. You'll be one of the first people to know.
Yeah, please do.
Right, the narrative has been pushed a certain way, and we feel that, it's our job as citizens because Nancy Pelosi's committee isn't doing it. She's persecuting Alex Jones and Roger Stone now, when she should be investigating Rosanne Boyland's death. American citizen that died, and there was evidence of police brutality. That's what she should be investigating. We're doing the whole for her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the whole J6 commission, it's literally, it's being run by them, and she's literally one of the people that's responsible for what happened that day, based on just the chain of command for that, for the security of that building. She is the one that's in charge. All the house sergeant at arms, and then there's now, and I didn't even realize that the National Guard or somebody, one military person or police person that didn't go and provide backup is now the house sergeant at arms. There's all sorts of weird stuff, that all transpired after. And then, you have the deputy to the house sergeant at arms or Senate sergeant. I think it was the house sergeant at arms that's found and has been alleged to be part of a huge pedophilia ring, and nothing. It's not even on the news. And this guy has been taxpayer funded, person with the house sergeant at arms for years, and he was just arrested in Alexandria a couple of weeks ago for it, and it barely even made the news. We wrote an article about it, but nobody really did it. But Cara, thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome to come on whenever you want. I'm not sure why you haven't yet, but yeah, I saw you were on Pete Santilli yesterday, and I'm like, he's on our network, but you should be on this show once in a while. But awesome. But
if you can I'm encouraging people, please support Rosanne Boyland's family. Read the article I wrote on Gateway to learn more about it, and go on the Give, Send, Go. And like I said, if you can't even afford to send money, send them prayers, because they need help right now mentally, and they need everybody needs courage when you're fighting up against something as big as the government, trying to get this information about their daughter's death, because we saw the video. We see the video.
Yeah.
The police woman beating her.
They definitely were, and I know there's another video, because I've seen another video that showed the officer. It wasn't clear, but you could see an officer definitely moving, and that was where a lot of people started paying attention to it. But yeah, the Give, Send, Go, they could just look up Rosanne Boyland there on Give, Send, Go, and it'll show up.
What happened to Rosanne Boyland is the name of the Give, Send, Go.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's similar to called the show. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's convenient. I didn't know that. But all right, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you. And we'll see you next time. Okay. All right. So everybody else, it's been a crazy day. I mean, it's a good show. It was a good show. I wanted to be able to get that out. I mean, I saw the video, and Villian contacted me yesterday, and he wanted me to have him on, and then he announced that he was coming on, and then the folks over at Citizens Against Political Persecution were like, we want to come on too, and I was like, okay, what do you guys do? You like the interviews, or do you like where I just rant for an hour? Because the one thing I do have to do, and this is, the show's over, so to speak now, but the one thing I do have to do is I have to switch my monitor. I got to get with Adam this week and figure out how to get my output from my Alienware computer to show on this monitor, because I can't see the guest when they're on, so I have to look over here, which it's super annoying, because when I look over here, I also see myself looking over there, and it just, like when Cara was just on, it literally gave the appearance that I was just staring at her the whole time, and that's not, I like to make eye contact when I have conversations, but someone said occasional interviews are great. Good. But that's what we'll do. I like the interviews too, to be honest. It's hard for me to get like people that I'm interested in hearing about, you know what I mean, and talking to. So that was good, and I'm glad that I was able to speak with both Cara and Villian as well. So we'll have to just wait and see what's going on. So let me talk to you guys just real quick, and then I'm going to wrap for the day. It is Thanksgiving evening. Tomorrow we are going to have a Black Friday sale on Pure Truth Coffee and Pure Truth Clothing. The thing with everything, we're changing our shipping policy. I'm going to try to hire someone to work in here and help ship some of the stuff out, but we're going to basically have a 7-day shipping policy for everything except the boxes. Coffee, You guys are going to love it. We have new coffee flavors coming in. The Halloween, the Trumpkin is all gone. And then we've got some Christmas flavors going in. We're going to have dark roast too. I just ordered it all today. So that'll probably be in within the next 10 days. So I'll update the store and everything tomorrow. So probably around 12 o'clock, right around noon tomorrow, we'll have our Black Friday sale will start. You can use code TURKEY, and it's not going to work until tomorrow at noon. You can use code TURKEY, and you'll get 25% off everything in the store. And there's going to be a shit ton of new stuff. A lot of the old designs are gone. Actually, the store will probably look all new because that's one of the things I'm doing tonight. But tons of new shirts, tons of new sweatshirts and stickers and all that. And so we'll be doing that. And again, I just think it's easier to do it that way. But, you know, all the coffee brands are kind of switching, so it's good. So, and then also what I mentioned earlier, for boxes starting in January, well, actually starting as soon as I figure out what we're going to put in them, we're going to start doing other boxes as well, not just Patriot boxes. We're going to do a Back to Blue box, where a portion of each sale will go to charity for like a police charity. And then we're going to do a kids box. So a box, it's going to have a stuffed teddy bear. I already got him, because I was really happy with it. And it's got a shirt on that says Yeeter because it's cool. And so you can order the kid sizes. It'll have some other stuff. Like I may get like promotional like yo-yos and stuff like that. But kids boxes in there with some kid shirts, but all kid friendly stuff. Nothing too political, just, you know, patriotic. So we'll have those as well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot. Someone said the brother of the Antifa guy who video, and that's not true. James was not doing that. James Sullivan. No, he wasn't. That's if he says he was. I have the video. The video's right here. I can't play it here, but everyone that was right with Roseanne before she passed away, or while they were working on her doing CPR, he's not one of them. So I don't know why they're saying that. But yeah, someone said, what's the mystery box flavor? It's strong and got a buzz from the past 2 times I drank it. They're all medium roast. So I don't know. The mystery box flavor that you have will say it. Should say it right on it, Mean Dean, like on the label. And I don't know which one you have because I can't read mine's. But pretty much everyone for the November boxes, I packed up all the 2X boxes today. They didn't ship. None of them actually shipped. And then I opened the box for all the replenishment shirts, and yeah, it had 2X and it had extra large, one design, and nothing else. So I'm going to be in here tomorrow morning printing T-shirts, and then we're going to our families for Thanksgiving, and then I'm coming home tomorrow night, and I'll probably, depending on how tired and full I am, I'll probably come in and print, and then all day Friday I'm going to be printing shirts as well to get all those boxes out to you. All the December boxes, just waiting on the shot glasses, then those will be going out to you guys as well, and we'll have new boxes probably after I get all those ones sent out. That's where the new boxes will come out. So probably sometime next week. Someone said he was next to Ashley Babbitt. That was John Sullivan, not James Sullivan. You guys are confusing the two people. But yeah, so hopefully that's good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap the show. I thank everyone. I got to figure out a way that if I do get super chats during the show, which I got one, I don't know who it was from, but I can't see it. But I did get one $10 super chat, and I thank you for, oh wait, who was that? Can I see it right here? No, I got a $5 one from Wicked Way, and I got probably another, obviously another $5 one from someone else. But thank you. As a reminder, everything I make this week is going to the charity anyway. We're going to set up a scholarship fund for the everyone made fun of me, so I'm just going to say the Wisconsin terror attack. Everyone's saying, oh, you can't even say Waukesha or Waukesha or whatever, however you say it. So I'm not even going to bother anymore. I'm just going to reference it as a terror attack because that's what it was. And I'll talk about that probably tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Cara and Villian, for coming on the show. I'll be live. No, the print and ship has to be done here in Virginia. I'll be live Probably on Friday I'll do a show. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about yet. Hopefully tomorrow is nothing uneventful, just as a country, and everyone gets to just have fun. What I am going to do is I'm going to jump on TikTok and do about half an hour, 45 minutes on TikTok because I want to build that presence, and it's different, and I'll explain it on TikTok. But that's way more laid back. I interact a lot with the chat and all that stuff. But thank you guys for watching. We will see you. Shit, I'm not even ready to do this. We'll see you later. I'm going to end this. We'll see ya.
With Stephen Oatley, unapologetically American and unapologetically honest. Join us each night at 8 p.m. for more daily headlines, politics, and social issues, covering the headlines that mainstream media ignores. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review the show. See more on the website at citizenstringer.com. And we'll see you tomorrow on Wake Up America.